Well, Kenton, it turns out that NC State football is going to be cardiac arrest every single game of the season.
You are Locked On Wolfpack, your daily podcast on the NC State Wolfpack, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
No sound for the first 2 minutes. That is the Locked On Wolfpack difference. What's up, Wolfpack Nation? It's time to get locked in with Locked On. Thanks for making Locked On Wolfpack at this point your second listen of each and every day. We are free and available wherever you get your podcasts and on YouTube. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Our Thursday evening post-game live / Friday episode is brought to you by Mazda. Just like there's more to every player, there's more dedication, more attention to detail, everything in every Mazda vehicle. Stay tuned for later in the episode for highlights in this week's Mazda moving the game forward. Mazda, move and be moved. What's up, Wolfpack Nation? Welcome to our Thursday evening post-game live. For the second week in a row, They had us in the first half, I'm not going to lie, but NC State finds a way to chip away at a halftime deficit and leave with a win, this time on the road, 34-24. One of the two of us, it wasn't me, correctly predicted tonight's score. Kenton had 34-24, hit that sucker on the nose. Whew, I'm out of breath. Kenton, NC State escapes with a road win to open the ACC slate. How do we feel?
Well, I'm not sure escapes is the right word for this, because this was a game where, yes, it required a comeback in the second half, but I don't think that this game was particularly close down the stretch. Like, there were moments where we were asking to put them away, but to me, a close game or an escapes type of game, you're not really saying, hey, put them away. You're saying, dude, just hold on.
Fair.
And I think for the last, 8-9 minutes of the game, I don't think any Wolfpack fan was saying, just hold on, please. I think it was much more of a, hey, this game is pretty much over so long as you don't piss down your leg, which they didn't, And I look at this game and I say, is this UVA all over again? Is this UVA Part 2, Winston-Salem edition? Because first half, lit up by their offense. First half, we could do nothing to stop their offense and special teams, which at this point is becoming a little bit of a concern. I mean, just being completely honest, last week you allow the returner of the week to do more special things against you. This week, you kick off to a player that you and I talked about in the pregame in terms of, hey, you have to stop this guy. You have to get the ball out of this guy's hands. Grayson, after that first kickoff, was there a single kick that did not at least land in the middle of the end zone?
We may have to investigate Charlie Birtwistle, because every kickoff after the first one of the game flew out of the back of the end zone. The opening kickoff made it to the 3-yard line and sets up potentially their most athletic player with a house call.
Yeah.
Special teams, we got some questions about now after 3 weeks, but at least we rebounded from that.
Exactly. And the second half is where you really look at this team dominating.
Yes.
The second half offensively, the second half defensively. What was it? 5 or 6 straight drives of 3 and outs?
I believe it was 6 in a row in the second half.
6 3 and outs in a row.
Spectacular.
That is, so when you talk about Roper, I'm not going to lie to you. It was me that made the "Hey Big Head" tweet to Tony Gibson. I will admit that. It was in fact I. But what I will also say is they came through in a major way in the second half. And again, I'm not going to fault the defense for being bad when I expected you to be bad. I'm not going to fault you.
How true is that right now?
I can't do it.
Yeah.
Now, will these bad habits catch up to this defense at some point in time? Obviously, I believe so. I would hope to be wrong, a lot like I was about the UVA game. I would hope to be wrong, and it doesn't. But the reality is it very likely will. But with that being said, I must give love to this offense. I must give love to Kurt Roper. I must give love. People are talking about CJ took a step forward. No, that brother was listening to the cha-cha slide this offseason, because he did 1 hop this time, 2 hops this time, because he's making leaps and bounds forward as a passer, as a runner, in terms of being decisive. And Hollywood Smothers.
Woo-wee!
Hollywood is Holly good, ladies and gentlemen. He continues to do his thing and be one of the most prolific rushers in the nation. I think that this game, despite a very auspicious start, despite seeing,
if that's the word you want to use,
a kickoff return for a touchdown, and then Ja'Carrius Peak going down, and them working on that knee. And I'm sitting here like, oh, no. Whenever they start testing that knee, it's not good. but we get Pete back. We get that, we get those points back, and we finish this game on such a high note. Obviously, there are things that you want to get right, and there are things that you want to critique. But at the end of the day, a win is a win is a win. And 3-0 is better than what it could have been. And although this game was also close, this was the first game that did not come right down to the wire, to where you're sitting on the edge of your seat, last drive of the game. ECU, if one pass goes differently on that fourth down, we're talking about a different situation.
Yep.
UVA, Kean Sloan doesn't intercept that ball. If Moore's lobs it over his head to the running back, we're talking about a different game. In this game, there was no one play that you say, if this goes Wake Forest way down the stretch, all of a sudden we're looking at a different ball game for NC State. This was the most relaxed I've been during the NC State game this season. Them first games had me feel like I got hypertension or something. I've been trying to watch my weight. I've been trying to watch how I eat, Grayson.
At least in the second half, that is. I think this stat still holds, but there was a couple minutes left in the game when we discovered that this was true. I believe that Wake Forest had just one rushing yard in the second half. Did y'all hear me? One rushing yard in the second half? Are you kidding me? Apparently, DJ Elliott, for only one half of a game, he has the ability to be Kirby Smart. But you don't know when that half is going to come. You don't know. Well, I guess it's 3 for 3 in terms of games now, but I was speechless at halftime based on what I saw from the defense. And we knew the offense, you were going to get enough from the offense to make it competitive. Even with the deficit at halftime, you knew the offense was going to click at some point and they were going to get you back in this game.
Yeah.
To come out, we're all over the place, but to come out after halftime and punch them in the mouth almost instantly, it's what you had to have happen. So that was a great start coming out of halftime. I believe I tweeted at halftime, we're going to find out about the leadership in that locker room getting essentially embarrassed in that first half, and they proved themselves. So NC State does win on the road. This one, I think even more than the last two, it feels better to say a win is a win. In the second half, it was a spectacular effort on both sides of the ball. And to me, I'm willing, well, I don't know if overlook is the word I want to use, but it cleans up some of the mess of the first half. You just we are clearly a tale of two halves type of team. And you don't know if it's going to be the first half or the second half. They're just going to keep us guessing. So again, this season, it may age all of us by 5 years by the time this thing is ending. I'm going to throw another ricochet. Kenton doesn't have hair, but I might not have hair at the end of this season at the route, or at least the rate that we're on right now. But 34-24 on the road. Something I wanted to see from this team is, what will you do? What will it look like when things don't go your way on the road? And I think you got a really good example of that tonight. What is this team chemically composed of when stuff, I almost said the S word, stuff hits the fan and you don't have Carter Finley to rely on? Because I think the last two games, maybe more than we thought it happened. But to come out in the second half and just stand on business, to pitch a shutout in the second half, 0 points allowed as well. Spectacular. And this is a good win. This is the type of win that I think can carry you into another road game next week on the road at Duke. And that's, every game now, as you keep winning, each game gets incrementally bigger than the last. So 34-24 win over Wake Forest out in Winston-Salem. Shout out to Ryan Williams. You saw a road win for the NC State Wolfpack. Apparently that's the first time since 2010 Ryan has seen NC State win on the road. I bet that feels good. Shout out to Ryan. Much more to come. We're going to get into a quick ad read. I believe it is from Mazda. Stay with us. Our first Thursday post-game sponsor / Friday show sponsor is Mazda. You can either just move through life or you can find the things that move you. It's simply your choice. You can choose to get out there, choose your people. You can choose to go for it, like Dave Dorn on fourth down, really go for it. Just choose to do something that moves you. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than just simply move. Mazda, move and be moved. All right, middle portion of our post-game live here Thursday night. Again, thank you all so much for staying up with us. I know it's quickly approaching midnight here on the East Coast, but we never have any trouble getting y'all in here, seeing all of your comments filter through. That is the Wolfpack fan base difference. 34-24 win over Wake Forest. Let's focus just for a couple minutes on just the offense.
Yeah.
CJ Bailey, He does not play like a guy that was a true freshman last year, got thrown into the mix and had to learn on the fly.
Yeah.
He's looking more poised every week.
Mhm.
23 of 32 tonight, 201 through the air, 3 passing touchdowns. That was actually the only leg of my 3-piece that I did hit. I did tell you he was going to throw more than 1 passing touchdown tonight. He threw 1 to Keenan Jackson. How's that Keenan Jackson stock doing over there? He's
Doing great.
It's a rich man tonight. He made a lot of money. And then, of course, 2 touchdowns to Justin Jolie. Been waiting to see that happen. That's the best tight end in the country. Turns out when you throw him the ball, good things happen. Who would have guessed?
Yeah. I mean, if you want to talk about this game and how things went, Justin Jolie was an X factor in every sense of the word.
Every facet.
When people think about Justin Jolie and what he does, a lot of people look at him as a pass catcher. A lot of people think of him as what he does with the ball in his hands after he gets it. Did y'all see the young man blocking? There was one big play where he's blocking a guy out of bounds like he's Michael Orr or something, saying, we got to take him back to the bus. He needs to go home, coach. And even beyond that, there was another play where C.J. Bailey pulls it and he demolishes a guy on the perimeter out there. That's the type of stuff that you have to reward as an offensive coordinator. And did Kurt Roper not do so? Did he not get it to him twice in the end zone?
Got the job done.
The running game. Hollywood Smothers has been so effective, but that offensive line. Oh my God. Some of those holes that they produced, Grayson might run for 50 through. Maybe even 60. Maybe
75. He's telling me short.
But, the holes that the offensive line were opening up were massive. And the receiver depth that we talked about all offseason.
It's there.
It's there.
It's real.
Every single game, we have had a different guy or different couple guys step up. We have had multiple games. Game 1, the Teddy Hoffman game, right? Against ECU, Teddy's doing all these phenomenal things and looking great. And then game 2, the UVA game, you got Wesley Grimes in there.
Mm-hmm.
You've got Noah Rogers in there. And then you see game 3, where you get a heavy, heavy, heavy dose of Keenan Jackson and Justin Jolie. This offense has been exactly who we thought they would be. People said, well, I don't know if an offense coached by Dave Doran can put up X amount of points. He's never been that type of guy. He's also never had this type of talent across the board. He's never had this type of depth in a receiver room. Even when we go back to the days where the receiving room had Emeka Emezi and Thayer Thomas and company in it. If you tried to name the 3 guys behind them, were you naming 3 guys that you thought they're going to be stars one day for the Wolfpack?
Respectfully, no.
Now, let me ask you, do you think Teddy Hoffman has stardom in him one day?
We've only seen one real game, but there's potential there for sure.
Okay. Do you think that there are other receivers in this receiving core that have stardom in them outside of a Wesley Grimes, a Noah Rogers, and a Keenan Jackson? Is there anybody else in there that you would say that about? Because I would say so with this offense. I would say so.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So I look at this group and everybody is clicking. Everybody's doing it well. I mean, and even when you talk about Hollywood Smothers being out of the game, the physicality that Duke Scott runs with, he just runs like a guy. He's seeking contact. I want to find me a defender to put on his back. And so this team, this offense in particular, is doing this thing in a way that is so methodical. They can hit you with the 5-yard, 6-yard, 8-yard. We just going to ground you and pound you down. We just going to wear you out with the quick pass. They can do it by hitting you over the top. And mind you, this wasn't even a perfect game by the offense.
No.
There were that pass to Keenan Jackson left a little bit of meat on the bone there. There were some moments where this offense looks absolutely unstoppable in these first 3 games. And am I saying that they played any defenses so far that are gangbusters? No. Not going to say that. But Grayson, how many gangbuster defenses do we have coming up this season? How many defenses do you have that you look at and you say, that's probably a top 15 unit in the nation? That's a top 20 unit let's even say top 30. How many do you have like that? You might say Duke, you might say Notre Dame, you might say who else? Maybe Florida State?
Maybe Florida State. I think the jury's still out on Miami. We'll see.
Okay, so you got 4 defenses all season that you look at and you say, hey, they're a legitimate problem. If you're going to play 8 defenses that are not super formidable, have 8 great showings.
Yes.
And so far, they've had great showings against every defense that is not formidable, with the exception of the second half against ECU.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, the offense, they are who we hoped they would be. And in fact, I think I said this either the ECU game or the UVA game. This is the offense that we thought we'd had over a year ago last year. We thought all these new pieces and Justin Jolie in the wide receiving room. Yeah. Of course, you suffer a quarterback loss and you have to rely on a true freshman. I mean, that's going to be tough sailing. But now that CJ is maturing each and every week and so much growth we've seen from him just over this offseason as well, there's so many times just in this game in particular, Kent and I looked at each other like, CJ wasn't doing that last year. Yeah. He wasn't making that read last year. He wasn't, knowing or understanding the pocket collapsing down on him that fast last year. The growth is real, and NC State's going to continue to benefit from that each and every week. Hollywood Smothers. I mean, what else can that guy do than 28 touches for 162 yards? There was a tweet from ACC Network earlier in the week. You might have seen me respond to it on Twitter. They said, give us a hot take, your hottest take about something going on in ACC football. I said Hollywood Smothers is the best running back in the ACC. Now, State fans, you're like, is that a hot take? The rest of the country is literally like, they're still learning. We have this kid called Hollywood Smothers. They see the name, they're like, hey, a cool name. No, he's a freaking rock star. Yeah. This running back room with Hollywood Smothers and Duke Scott is one of the more physically imposing running back rooms we've had in a long time. And I'm including the likes of like Ricky Person and Bam Knight, Naheem Hines and Reggie Gillespie. These two, they say like thunder and lightning, but it's also like thunder and thunder. It's just two thunders. And we also have a coach called Coach Thunder. This offense, like I could not be happier with the offensive product we're putting on the field. And that is still, coming to grips with the fact that we're leaving some points on the board. That's fine. It's going to happen. Missing some throws. There was a throw to Keenan Jackson that we overshot. CJ Bailey just cooked it a little too much. If you hit that one, Keenan has nothing but green in front of him. I think CJ probably at that point would have finished with like at least 250 and 4 passing touchdowns. So just the little stuff that still has to get cleaned up. Can we expect perfection? No, of course not. But just impressive showing from CJ and the offense. Hollywood, the wide receiving room, Justin Jolie, and the O-line. Don't ever forget about the O-line because what they're showing the last couple weeks, it's impressive. Hollywood Smothers, as talented as he is, he doesn't go for 163 on the ground tonight unless the O-line does their job. So the offensive line, be sure to give them their flowers. They're doing the work. Coach 2J, I think he gets doubted a lot. This unit is by far the best unit I think that he's had in his third season here at NC State. So the offense puts up 34. The two of us predicted 34 correctly, but Kenton beat me to the punch. He also predicted 24 for Wake. So coming up next, we're going to talk about the NC State defense, more specifically in that second half, and then our closing thoughts here, as I think they're going to shut the lights on it. They're probably going to kick us out in about 10, 15 minutes. So let's go ahead and wrap this sucker up. Our second sponsor comes – actually, hold on one second. Our second post-game live sponsor is DoorDash. It's almost the weekend, and hey, Thursday night, State's playing. It might already be your weekend, but it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order, these players delivered when it mattered the most. Let's break it down. CJ, I'm going to give it to CJ.
Absolutely.
This week's player of the game is CJ Bailey for the NC State Wolfpack. CJ delivered in a big way, 3 passing touchdowns, over 200 yards through the air. He made the right throw at the right time when NC State needed it the most. No hesitation, no delay. If you've been watching CJ for these first 3 weeks, you know that this performance tonight was no fluke. Just like CJ delivered for the Wolfpack, DoorDash delivers for your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you can save every single Saturday that you order. You can stack it up all season long and save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. You can order this Saturday to keep the streak alive. Fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply. The promo period runs from now to November the 18th. All right, last couple minutes here before they inevitably shut the lights out on us out here to Winston. 34-24 win over the Demon Deacons. Let's talk about DJ Elliott. Let's talk about the NC State defense. Okay, you can't tell the whole story without also touching on the first half.
Yeah.
The first half defense was arguably the worst NC State defense I've ever seen in my life. And some of that I do think gets attributed to Wake running back the opening kickoff. I could tell NC State got really shell-shocked from that. Like, you get punched in the mouth out of the gate, which is why we implore NC State to do the punching typically. Unfortunately, it doesn't happen all that often, but you can see how much that matters, especially in an environment like this one. The crowd was so-so tonight in Winston-Salem, but they were doing everything they could to make it a bigger game than probably it needed to be. Wake running back the opening kick, they achieved that without really having to do much. And so NC State's defense out of the gate, I think they kind of accepted the fate that they're, oh man, we're down 7-0. We haven't even done anything wrong yet. And that kind of bled into some of the performances. Now, we told you this week that Robbie Ashford, the Wake quarterback, he's pretty mediocre. But in the first half, he looked like a Heisman candidate, both on the ground and through the air. And obviously, we talked about Chris Barnes, their wide receiver. He was the guy that ran back the opening kickoff. We told you that Wake Forest had 3 options to beat NC State tonight. It was Damon Claiborne, it was Robbie Ashford, it was Chris Barnes. Kenton, I ask you, did we lie? I don't think we lied.
No, not at all. And you know what? The more I look at this game, and I need to watch the film again, but the more I think about this in its totality, the defense allowed 17 points tonight, Grayson.
Correct. Yes, only 17.
Even if we talk about, the fact that we could not get off the field in the first half, we just couldn't do it.
Yes.
Third down conversions abound, as always, early in the game against the DJ Elliott coach defense. But 17 points, you'll live.
We'll take that.
You'll live. That's a hell of a performance. In a Division I ACC game, I'll take allowing 17 points. If you give me 17 points allowed per game as a defense, and you tell me don't give up any on special teams, don't give up any, and watch this. Let's get real crazy with it. The thick six.
The thick six. The thickest of sixes.
So now you give up 17, but you get back 7. In reality, you were -10 as a defense.
Correct.
That's great ball. That's great ball on paper. So we do acknowledge the start was not ideal. The start was not what you want to see in terms of demoralizing drives, being on the defense, being on the field for a while, getting yourself worn out by not, getting third down stops. However, if you're going to tell me that you're going to give me a net of allowing 10, that's a winner. And what did I say about this defense all offseason? Be what?
Opportunistic.
Opportunistic looks like what? A thick six?
A thick six.
Taking away the ball?
You said
when we're looking to close the door, we get the sack on 4th down, right?
Yep.
And the targeting that
was not targeting.
Come on. What is a pass rusher supposed to do there, right? How many times have we seen quarterbacks on their way to the ground pull his arm back and find something?
Yeah.
How many times have we seen it? So a defender goes in and finishes that play, and all of a sudden he gets hit with targeting, but Ronnie Royal, baby, welcome to the party. Way to see it. Way to get him in the game. We've talked about Ronnie and some of these younger DBs coming along and developing as special guys. I always knew from the moment we signed Ronnie and I watched this film, I said, oh, this guy, he's special. He's really, really special. And he showed it in a big moment by closing the door, because that pick really felt like when the game ended.
Yes,
that
it ended right there.
Yes. Felt like this is the dagger. So all in all, you have a defense, 2 turnovers.
Yep.
Allowing a net of 10 points. When you talk about there's 7 points that they scored, taken away from the 17 they gave up. No points allowed in the second half. 5 straight 3-and-outs. If you tell me that we will ever get that from this defense, I will take that.
Every time.
I will take that. Even if we think about some of the best defenses that Coach Gibson coached. If we say, hey, that defense is going to allow 10 points, in essence, like the net of what they give up against what they score, they're going to allow 10 points. I'll take that.
Every time.
I'll take that. So DJ Elliott in this defense, it feels like the world is crashing down on you when you have a 14-0 deficit. Wolfpack Nation, I understand. Trust me. I was the one. I admit it. I'm guilty. It was me that tweeted, hey, big head, to Tony Gibson, okay? I'm not going to sit here and say I didn't panic at all. But this team kept in and closed out the noise. They quieted the noise. They cleared the clutter. They cleared the mechanism and said, you know what? We will stay the course and play our game. And staying the course, playing their game ends with a 34-24 win in Winston-Salem.
Yeah, I'm still sitting here blown away by the defensive effort in that second half. And so shout out to DJ Elliott. We doubted you in the first half, but in the second half, you did your thing. You got in your bag. You did what needed to do. We just got to figure out how to make that a 4-quarter effort. That's still in the works. Maybe it'll happen next week against Duke, but to give up 0 points in the second half, 1 rushing yard. I hope that's right, because with about 4 minutes left in the game, that was correct.
Yeah.
1 rushing yard in the entire second half. And everybody's been saying, I've been hearing all about Damon Claiborne.
Yeah.
You think Hollywood Spo is the best? No, no, it's clearly Isaac Brown. I think Hollywood Spo is the best. But Damon Claiborne is widely considered a top 3 running back in this ACC league. 12 carries for 35 yards. He did score, but that was early in the game. 12 carries for 35 yards. And keep in mind, Damon Claiborne is essentially their entire offense. We did say that this week, didn't we?
Yep.
So when you remove Claiborne from the game in that second half, what does Wake do? Nothing. They do absolutely nothing. Because you put the game in Robbie Ashford's hands and say, okay, QB1, you got to do this thing for us. Couldn't do it. Ends up with 2 interceptions in this game. The only interception I've ever seen Ronnie Royal make was that crazy one-handed interception in high school. Turns out when you use 2 hands, he can still catch the football. So great interception from Ronnie Royal. Well-deserved, as he's a player that we've been waiting to see now for quite some time. He showed out the right moment. And to get to this point, that interception from Royal, that was the dagger. That was the ball don't lie moment as it came after the targeting penalty.
The very next play.
Ball has never lied, will never lie in the future. We know this to be true. So NC State defensive effort in the second half. What more can you say? We got a sack there toward the end of the game as well. I was worried we weren't going to log a sack. I'm a little concerned. This is my one concern from tonight because I want to be overly positive about that exciting win. The quarterback pressure has been a little underwhelming for me because it was sold to us that DJ Elliott, his defensive scheme is built on pressure, built on sacks, built on chaos in the backfield. Hasn't quite gotten there yet. So just 1 sack tonight. I was encouraged at the end of the game how often we forced Ashford, sorry, blanked, Robbie Ashford to get out of the pocket. Because you saw the stark contrast between in the pocket and out of the pocket throws. When he left the pocket, it was all over the place. I don't think he knew where the ball was going. So that was a great effort to close out that game for the defense. Again, defense, when the game is on the line, they're making the plays that they need to make. 3-0 now. I'm impressed.
The biggest thing that I want to give DJ Elliott and his crew credit for in back-to-back games, right? Second half adjustment.
Yes.
If you talk about the last 2 games, you are talking about 4 quarters of football in terms of second halves where you allow 7 total points. That'll play.
What more can you say?
That'll play. If you're talking about finishing teams off by allowing 7 points to end 2 second halves against Power 5, ACC, conference opponents, that'll play.
Every time.
That'll play. I will take that. As much, Elliott's defenses have been much maligned for their giving up of third downs, and rightfully so. But when they do right, when they give more than is expected, I'm going to celebrate them. And damn it, they deserve celebrating for back-to-back second halves that were stellar. Now, like you said, we want to see that for a full 4 quarters.
Yes.
However, if you tell me that at any point in time we're going to get a defense that is as relentless as we saw in this second half, and am I saying that there was at no point in time Robbie Ashford doing Robbie Ashford things which helped us out? Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. But at the end of the day, that's the essence of playing defense in college football. When you talk about the Duke and Illinois game from last week, just a slight look ahead here, there were plenty of plays that were there for Duke.
Sure.
But what happened? Mensa leaves the ball about 5 yards short. Illinois is taking it the other way.
Opportunistic.
That's the point of college football. Make the offense do it right every time. Most offenses can. And so you look at this Wake Forest offense. You take Damon Claiborne out of the game because, Grayson, what was Damon Claiborne's longest run of the day?
Let me check. It was longest run of the day for Damon Claiborne, 8 yards. When
his longest run of the day is 8 yards, and he's not averaging 6 or 7. So it's not like that 8 yards is big, but he's doing 6 or 7 every play. When you get that type of situation, you're going to have a time where all you have to do is, again, make these guys do it right. Make a quarterback that has not excelled in passing beat you throwing the ball. And surprise, surprise, in the words of Deion Ward, surprise, surprise, he couldn't do it. So, that's the type of thing that you want to see here. This defense, again, they've made their mistakes. They've had their struggles getting off the field on third down. But all in all, I'm always going to celebrate a defense that finishes the way that this defense has finished for multiple games.
It's a whole lot better to make mistakes in a win than it is in a loss. But we wouldn't know what one of those is. NC State is 3-0. 34-24 victory on the road out here in Winston-Salem. That's now back-to-back wins out here in Winston-Salem. Whatever curse that used to be, long gone. We're going to establish a winning culture on the road. How about that?
That burning food truck was like sage. It was getting those demons.
I think we just got to the bottom of it.
Whatever
they were doing in this food truck that I'm giving the stink eye to right now, what in the world was that? I don't know, but maybe it helped NC State. It reversed the energy because Justin Jolie scored a touchdown immediately after that. So, yes, this is a great win. To win on the road, I don't think it gets talked about enough. It's so hard. And I know it's annoying to hear me say that because the whole week I was like, well, Wake's not good and NC State should blow them out and this, that, and the other. The point being, it is difficult in any league in college football to win away from home. It's going to present several different challenges. And a team that is as young as ours is and relatively inexperienced on both sides of the ball to come out with this win and basically the second half, a comfortable win if you're only looking at the second half. What an effort. So great to see NC State pick up this road win. 1-0 now in ACC play as well. That matters because the UVA game did not count towards that. Next week is on the road again, but it's at Duke. We owe them something too. We'll see if we can provide that payback when the time comes. Much more to talk about on Monday's show, recapping a 34-24 victory over Wake Forest. Feels good. Feels good to be 3-0. Let us know what y'all think in the comment section. Be sure to hit that like button, mash that subscribe button if you have not already. Again, thank y'all so much for staying up late with us. I know it's past midnight. Some of y'all got work tomorrow on Friday. Hell, I got work tomorrow on Friday. Don't care because we won. We will see you all on Monday because this is our Friday show. Monday to talk about the rest of this win. Enjoy it. NC State's 3-0. We'll see y'all then. Go Pack.
Go Pack.